It's time for our summer patron giveaway. Yes, this time we're doing a prize pack of selected comics, some swag, some special stuff, gifts from Jason from Hawaii, so some Hawaiian goodies, all kinds of fun stuff to share our love to you, the patrons. So if you would like to be included in our summertime giveaway, just become a patron at any level between now and Labor Day. So it's a summer giveaway, and then after Labor Day, we will pull a patron randomly from the stack and send you a prize pack. Now, not only that, not only do you get entered to win, you got to be in it to win it, by the way. That's what they say. You get on air thanks and show note shout outs, priority inclusion of your feedback and questions or comments into the show, access to our patron only Slack community, very popular, exclusive content. You get bonus episodes that nobody else gets. You get early access to bonus episodes or regular episodes. You get them ad free. You get them unedited. Sometimes that's a blessing and a curse, depending on your feelings there. All kinds of fun stuff, and the levels go up. You get more stuff. But that's kind of the ground floor stuff you get coming in as a patron. So please do so. It also means that you like what we're doing and you're sharing and caring enough to throw us a couple of shekels our way. And we appreciate that. And it helps keep the lights on. It helps pay the server fees. It helps keep us going and keep us doing it on our road to 1,000 episodes. Can we get there? I hope so. I hope so. But everything's going up. It's getting harder and harder to justify luxury expenses like podcast fees. So your help is greatly appreciated, and we want to continue that. Some of you just do it just to say thanks. We appreciate that. Some of you do it for the giveaway. Some of you do it for some of the tier perks. All those are valid. So whatever your reasoning, join our Patreon. Give us a little bit of love. We appreciate it. Come contest time, we'll pull your name and you will get a fun prize pack mailed directly to you. Thank you for listening and thank you for your support. Now back to the show.
Aloha! It's Jason from Hawaii. Welcome to a special edition of the Comics for Fun and Profit podcast. In this episode, I will be interviewing writer Mat Groom. He is here to promote his latest Kickstarter, Inferno Girl Red Books 1 and 2. Now this Kickstarter campaign has now launched and it will end towards the end of September. I'm going to ask you listeners to please double check the Kickstarter page for the exact dates. Now, Mat, welcome to the Comics for Fun and Profit podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
No, thank you very much. Now, listeners, I'm just going to briefly go over Mat's past work. And Mat, please feel free to correct me if I got something wrong or just jump in if you want to point out something for listeners to check out. So, all right. So now I know Mat has done one of his past works he's done was Self-Made from Image Comics. He's done he has done some runs on the Power Ranger series from Boom Studios. He has co-written with Kyle Higgins some of the Ultraman series from the Marvel Comics. And that's right. Mat, I have to tell you this. One of the comic book series that you co-wrote with Kyle was Ultraman, The Mystery of Ultra 7. That first issue has my favorite monster or kaiju. I'm going to try to pronounce the name of it. Iliking.
Iliking, yeah. Iliking's fun, right?
Oh my god. Okay, so I'm sorry, I'm kind of going off the cuff. I'm kind of going off script, but my god, because in the 70s, because back, and I'll talk more about this too throughout the interview. Back in the 70s, in Hawaii, Ultra 7 was one of the series that they showed on TV. Oh my god! And when the toys came out, Illy King was my favorite, one of the favorite monsters that I had. Oh my god, I love that. And I had the one, and I don't know I don't know the name of it, but it was the one that looked like a bull. It had the horns and everything. And it was kind of stocky. I don't know what the name of it was, but yeah, but I've
Yeah, I'm not
had
sure.
yeah, but I've had at
They're
least
such cool designs, though, aren't they? Like the monster designs in tokusatsu generally is like always so impressive that they're able to be so vibrant and creative, but they still got a person in there in a suit to do all the
yeah.
practical effects. So
Oh
impressive.
yes. But the funny thing is, I've only had like 2 or 3 of the Ultra 7 monsters, but I was never able to get the Ultra 7 figure. That was the funniest
Ah,
thing.
maybe all sold out.
Yeah, I no, that's what it probably was. But yeah, anyway, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm going to continue on. So, and also to correct me if I'm wrong, Matt, you are the co-host for the Ranger Danger podcast, and my
That's
understanding was
right.
that I know you've been doing it for about 10 years, or is it more now?
We're we're about a month away from our 10th anniversary, so very nearly 10 years. Yeah.
Oh, now I'm going to ask, can you please tell listeners what is this podcast about and how
Mhm.
often does it come out?
Yeah, so we've been doing Ranger Dane for about 10 years, as I said, and it is a podcast where, for the most part, we just watch episodes of Power Rangers and then we talk about them afterwards. Very simple format, but as it turns out, there are hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds, coming up on 1,000 episodes of Power Rangers.
Yes.
So a
Mhm.
nearly infinite supply of content, which has kept us going all this time. And we've done a few extra little things here and there, but that's the bulk of it. And it's been at least one episode a week for the 10 years. We've never missed a Wednesday release. And with extra episodes and things like that,
Mhm.
we've done, I think, almost on average 2 episodes a week.
Mhm.
And I think we're about 850-ish episodes in total. So yeah, it's been a massive undertaking and we're still going. But it's a lot of fun.
Yes, it is. And then I have to say, it's amazing that the Super Sentai franchise really took off because I remember in the early 2000s that basically the main Japanese franchise at that time was like the Kamen Rider series, or in
Yeah.
America it's translated the Mask Rider, and the Ultraman series.
Mm.
And now it's like the Super Sentai. It's amazing, you know.
It's such a strange journey, isn't it? It's like how my life was impacted and changed because of the decision on the part of Time Saban and others to adapt this Japanese TV show and
Yes.
release it
Hmm.
in the Western world, and then it's like incredible success and decades long
Yes.
run. It affected my childhood love of
Hmm.
superheroes and storytelling in a really strong way.
Yes.
It also directly led me to doing the Ranger Danger podcast, of course, which
Hmm.
is how I met Kyle Higgins, the creator of Radiant Black. He did a big run on Parents Comics, and through that is how I ended up getting into comics writing. So if it wasn't for Super Sentai, I probably wouldn't be a comics writer. So I have a lot of appreciation and
Hmm.
affection for Super Sentai. Number one, just because it's great, but
Yes. Hmm.
yeah, also because it's it's really satisfying.
Yes. I'm sorry, I'm going a little bit off the cuff here. Have you ever watched the original Super Sentai called the Go Rangers? And in translation, Go means five in Japanese, the Five Rangers.
I've seen one or two episodes of a bunch of different Sentai
Yes.
series.
Hmm.
We decided kind of early on when doing the podcast, we never wanted to watch too much of the Sentai because that would sort of reveal to us what was coming in Power Rangers because it's a direct adaptation.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
But I've seen, I think, probably not episodes from every Sentai series, but
Hmm.
most of them.
Hmm.
And yeah, gosh, I love it. And it's such a fascinating like cultural experience and like narrative experience that you can't get anywhere else, where you watch one show and then you watch another show that's like 50% made up of footage from that same show, but taking it in a completely different direction and seeing how those different choices are made and the different decisions that they make. It's very fascinating.
Okay, sorry, Matt, we got to continue because if not, this is going to be a 3-hour interview.
Oh, I could talk about this for ages. So yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to ask Matt, did you want to add anything else for listeners? Did I miss anything, or do you want listeners to check out some of your other works, or
no, nothing major, I don't think. I think that was all of the big stuff. I've done a handful of short stories here and there. And on the subject of Power Rangers, I do have a short story coming in the Boom Studios Mighty Morphin Power Rangers 30th anniversary special, which is coming the end of August.
Oh, okay.
So fun story in there as well.
Oh, okay, all right. Now, before I begin to the interview, I want to give a big shout out to Hannah Bahedri of Superfan Promotion for setting up this interview. Hannah, thank you very much for asking the Comics for Fun and Profit podcast to interview Matt. Matt, I'm going to ask, would you like to add anything to that?
Oh, yeah, just that, I very much appreciate the help of Hannah and David at Superfan Promotions. They're so delightful and they're helping me connect with people like you and have these chats, which I really do love. So, yeah, big appreciation to those guys.
Right. And then now I wanted to let listeners know that I got some of my information from an article from the Comic-Con website titled, the title of the article is Talking with Mat Groom about Inferno Girl from Image Comics. And that was written by Ali McNamee. Hoping I'm pronouncing the last name correctly. That was actually this year from June 6th of 2023. And then also too, I checked out a previous podcast, the Ranger Command interview. That was episode 209, Mighty Morphin. I believe they were talking about the comic book series from issue 17 to 22 with Mat Groom. That was dated December 7th, 2022. I listened to that. Oh my God, Matt, you had so much fun. You showed your love of the Power Rangers through. That was great. I mean, your guys' enthusiasm. Oh yeah, and when you did this, and how can, and it was just like your love for it came through.
I'm glad. Yeah, I mean, as we've been saying, I've had this childhood affection for the Power Rangers, and getting a chance to do 6 issues and tell some stories with those characters. So a big responsibility. But yeah, a childhood dream come true as well. And I have obviously taken a lot of that and poured it into doing something of my own take on that in the form of Inferno Girl Red.
All right. And then now listeners, if you guys get a chance, please check out those cool interviews. Now, Matt, I'm going to ask, promote your website, social platforms, like where can listeners follow you on social media, your website?
Yeah. So I'm on Twitter. My Twitter handle is Matthew with 1 T, Groom, Groom, or one word. I have a website, matgroom.com, again, 1 T in Matt. And most importantly is, of course, our Inferno Girl Red Books 1 and 2 Kickstarter page. If you search Inferno Girl Red on Kickstarter, it'll come up. But I also think infernogirlred.com should be redirecting there right now.
Yes, because I just checked it out this morning. Yes, thank you. Okay, now let's just jump into Inferno Girl Red. And if you want to talk about books, if you want to combine the story, books 1 and 2, that's fine. But what is the story about?
Yeah. So Inferno Girl Red is the story of a teenage girl named Cassia Costa. And she, previous to the story, had been sort of bouncing around from city to city with her mother as her mother tried to find jobs. They have had a hard life without much luck. But that luck starts to turn around when Cassia gets an invitation to a very prestigious and progressive new school called Helix Campus in a very cool city called Apex City, which is kind of like almost like a near futuristic, near utopian place. And it feels like everything's turning around for Cassia. But shortly after she arrives, the entire city is ripped out of our dimension and then cast into darkness. And it seems like that's all, everything that was about to go right for Cassia has been taken away. But she gets a chance to turn it all around when a magical bracelet rockets into her life and gives her the ability to turn into the legacy hero Inferno Girl Red. But that power set is powered by belief and hope and optimism. And that's not something that she has a lot of naturally because of what she's experienced in her life. So she's got to try and find a way to believe in herself and believe in the future when it seems like there's kind of no rational reason to. Yeah, and that's kind of the heart of our story.
Where you've already talked about Cassia. You want to talk a little bit about her mother? Because like you said, her and her mother have been going around through it. See, I know the backstory because and I'll just mention already because when I got the hardcover, I didn't expect like a little ash can, small little comic book inside. That was
Yeah.
great, and it gives a little bit of a backstory to the mom. So I'm sorry.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I Cassia's mom is a very, very important character in the story. And you know, with Inferno Girl Red in general, we wanted to try and do things that haven't really been done in superhero comics much before, try and push things in a new direction. And I wanted her relationship with her mum to be different to, yeah, what we've seen before. So it isn't the situation where, you know, the mum dies and that's at the start and that's a tragic motivation for her. It isn't the case where Cassia has to hide her secret identity and all of the drama and tension comes from that. They just have a very loving and supportive relationship. And it's not perfect. There's definitely some tension there and some pressure there, but they just care for each other very much. And they are both incredibly capable. And having those two and their relationship be at the heart of the story is really important to me. And as I was sort of figuring that out and developing the backstory and history of the world, I knew that there was just so many other stories we could tell, both in the past and in the future. So when we had the chance for the Kickstarter to do a little Ashcan comic as a stretch goal, I thought it would be really cool to throw back to the past and see a little bit of both the previous holder of the Inferno Girl Red mantle, but also Cassia's mom earlier in life when she was closer to Cassia's age, and how she was different and how maybe she was the same.
The other thing too, I'm not going to try to give too much away about the ash can, but I love her mom's optimism because she was helping like I guess one of the people that Inferno, I guess the previous holder of the Inferno Girl Red bracelet, you know, she's talking to the survivor going, no, don't worry, you know, she's going to protect you, we're here, we are here to help you. And I thought that was great. That was very good.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's important to me that these characters sort of both complement each other and sort of challenge each other. And Cassia is someone who, as I mentioned before, is very pragmatic and sometimes even a little cynical, perhaps sometimes to her detriment. And her mother is someone who's incredibly optimistic and hopeful, but sometimes to her detriment as well. And I think probably like the perfect way of being is somewhere in between them. But they kind of need each other to balance each other out. I feel like without Cassia's mother would probably get into trouble a lot because she doesn't think anything's going to go wrong and can sometimes be a little reckless. But also Cassia needs her mother to push her to, you know, believe that something better is possible, even if it seems like everything's going wrong. So yeah, they're kind of constructed to push and pull on each other in both good and bad ways.
I was going to bring this up a little bit later on, but I think this is the perfect time for me to bring it up. Is you know, we talk about the strong bond between, you know, Cassie and her mother. It's really great. There is one scene that I really love is when Cassie gets the bracelet. She's a little, you know, her roommate calls and goes, hey, you know, we're, you know, you know, our apartment's being attacked, the school dorm is being attacked, you know, and you know, there's a monster outside my door, and Cassie is very hesitant to go and go basically fight her very first monster and to save her friend. But what I really love was Anna said, someone's life is in danger, and I promise, and in the text, in the lettering, the word promise is a little bit more dark. It's like a little bit more bold. You have the
Emphasize, yeah.
power to do something about it. Go. And again, the word go is in bold. And I love it because it was just, you got this. It's not a, don't worry, honey, you can do this.
Yeah.
Rah, rah. It's the no, I know what you can do. And I know what that can do, the bracelet can do.
Yeah. It's not just like empty, fluffy, nice words. There is a deep well of genuine belief in Anna. And she really thinks her daughter is going to change the world.
Yes.
And yeah, there's some pressure to that, but it is also very empowering, as we see in the book.
That's great. I'm going to ask about a couple more people, or actually one couple of questions. Who is Harriet in the book?
So Harriet is a new friend that Cassia makes shortly after arriving in Apex, and sort of quickly, I think, develops into Cassia's new best friend because of how well they get along. And Harriet is someone who is a really great communicator and is extremely empathetic and understanding, and in some ways is a lot, again, of what Cassia needs. Kind of helps like fill out the missing parts of Cassia in some ways. And I think that what I've noticed hearing from people is that Harriet's kind of a fan favorite character now,
Yes.
because of just how good she is at being a friend. And I hear a lot, like, I just wish I had a friend like Harriet. She's perfect at that. She's like such a zen person. And I think in some ways, like, Harriet is another representation of the ethos of the school in a lot of ways, because it isn't a traditional school. They teach them things that aren't necessarily always taught in classes relating to mental health and human interaction. And Harriet's got it, like, she's just someone who cares so deeply about her fellow person and can help anyone out no matter what the situation is, and is always willing to. So she's a really great support system for Cassia in a lot of ways.
I'm going to say yes, she is a very good support system. She's a very good friend, and that's all I'm going to say. Yeah, yeah. I'm going to, and this is, sorry, I added this question on. So who is the Cabal? What is that group?
Yeah,
they've been keeping an eye on people. That's all I'm going to say.
There is an underground network that has existed in Apex and maybe elsewhere for at least many decades, probably longer. And they worship some sort of entity or force, sort of somewhere out in the universe, that wants to consume everything. And they've kind of decided that it's going to happen, and that the best thing to do is to help. And in helping, at least they'll probably get a little bit of something for them. They'll probably get favorable treatment, as long as they do that. And what this means is that because these people are sort of interspersed throughout society and they keep their identity secret, it's very hard for Cassia to be able to trust anyone, because anybody out there could be part of this cabal. They could be someone with, bad intentions for both Cassia and the city. So yeah, they're sort of like the personal manifestation of this darkness that has infiltrated Apex City.
Matt, I'm sorry, this is going to be an off-the-cuff question, because the Cabal sends off monsters to attack, Inferno Girl. I noticed that the designs are always either some type of insect or animal. Was that a purposely creative choice, you and Erica, your co-creator? Was that something you guys decided early on you guys wanted to do?
Yeah, absolutely. Very early on, when we were designing all aspects of the book, we had a lot of conversations about what these things mean and what they represent in the story. And we call these fragments, for something that, for reasons that will probably become clear a bit later. But these fragments are very single-minded and kind of animalistic. They're all hunters. They're all hunting for something in particular. And they just have this like single-minded desire to consume. And when we sort of settled on that idea, we realized that giving them sort of animalistic qualities would help communicate this idea that they're not sentient necessarily,
Mm-hmm.
but also they will react to things. They have, you know, feelings,
Mm-hmm.
but those feelings are mostly just this like single-minded desire to consume and destroy. So yeah, it was that we wanted to sort of bring out that animalistic quality in them. And then yeah, Erica just started riffing on designs, and yeah, it's, I guess as we're talking about with tokusatsu monsters before, it's always cool to be able to let Erica just sort of come up with something new every time,
Mm-hmm.
but still tied into that overall theme.
And then listeners, I'm sorry. Um, Matt's co-creator on this is Erica. I don't have her last name in front of
Durso?
me. Yes. So
Uh, Erica Durso, yeah.
I'm gonna ask, so how did you guys team up for this?
I was looking for an artist for this project literally for years.
Mm-hmm.
So my friend and editor on the book, Kyle Higgins, has a book called Radiant Black at Image Comics as well.
Mm-hmm.
And he started working on that about the same time that I started working on this, but
Mm-hmm.
this came out years later because of how long it took me to find the right person.
Mm-hmm.
Because I knew that, I mean, first of all, I wanted a female co-creator on the book
Mm-hmm.
because I knew it being the story of a teen girl that I by myself didn't have all of the perspective
Mm-hmm.
and
Yes.
sort of style in a lot of ways
Mm-hmm.
to authentically communicate that. And I also knew that I wanted someone who could do really big, electric, exciting, dynamic action,
Mm-hmm.
but also someone who could do the human drama in a really powerful way. And I think Erica does both of those things so well. I like to say,
Mm-hmm.
like, when a character in Inferno Girl Red is sad, your heart breaks
Mm-hmm.
because of how powerfully she can communicate those emotions. So finding the person that was all of those different combinations of things, yeah, it was a long search, and it ended up being because Kyle and I work with different artists from Italy in particular,
Mm-hmm.
both in the Power Rangers books and on Ultraman. She was just a recommendation. And there are a few people that we'd been recommended, but she was the first person who, as soon as I saw her work at her portfolio, I was just like, yes,
Mm-hmm.
this is
Yeah.
it.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I spoke to her, like, she was really excited by the story, and she was very like passionate about the beliefs and the ideas in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew I'd found the right person. And she really is a co-creator in the book. Like, I explained to her the story, but then she started creating different concepts and different designs, and
Mm-hmm.
that helped me understand the story. And I changed a lot of the feel of it and some of the beats of the story to better match her contributions. So we
Mm-hmm.
just bounced back and forth and worked together to create this world.
I want to comment on Erica's artwork. I love the interior artwork. Early on in the page, I love the two-page, the splash page of Apex City. Oh my God, that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Um,
I gotta tell you, there's a few points in this that I felt really bad for what I was putting in the script, because
Mhm.
I basically said a 2-page spread, the car comes over the hill, you
Yes,
see the entire city. And
yes.
that's a very easy thing for a person to write into a script.
Mhm.
That's very difficult for an artist to draw. It's just an entire city. And then a few things happen to the city in the story. Well, I guess, as I mentioned, it gets ripped out of existence and thrown into
Yes.
darkness. And Erica had to draw all of that.
Mhm.
But she handled it so beautifully. And yeah, her and our colorist Igor Monti, they're such an amazing pair. And Igor like has such a specific style and is a huge part of the identity of the book, because his colors are so vibrant that I feel like the emotion of the story
Yes.
just sort of like just shines out.
Mhm.
And I actually like even changed how I write based on him as well, because, for example, he does this thing where in fight scenes and big action scenes, in moments of key impact or power, he'll invert the colors of the page to really emphasize those moments.
Mhm.
And I knew that in action scenes, I wanted to start writing to that to sort of help him
Mhm.
use that tool that he has. So I'll change the way I choreograph scenes to make sure Igor can get the most out of it as well.
Mhm. I'm gonna say, please don't take this the wrong way,
Mm.
because I love the color choices. They're great because the interpersonal relationships between either Cassie and her mom, or
Mm.
you know, it's it's nice, soft, warm tones. It's really it's just nice. Okay, this is gonna sound, it just makes it's kind of nice, warm and fuzzy, you know. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I also love the bold colors when Inferno Girl comes out. It's
Yeah.
just, you know, it, and the thing I love about too is that Erica and Igor is that all the angular on the angular parts of Inferno Girl's helmets are sharp. It's great. There's no soft lines basically.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense or not, but also too the stark redness and the black comes out strong, and it's like, wow, this is it shows that it's real powerful, and I love it. It's great.
Yeah. Well, as I said, it's those two important parts of the story that I was looking for when I was trying to find Erica. It is that the really genuine, earnest, heartfelt emotion, and then it's just that like blazing, like, you know, knock you out action.
Yes.
And that's represented all the way through.
All right. I'm gonna ask, how is, because let me just ask you this. How was Inferno Girl tied into the Massive Verse?
Yeah. So when I mentioned that Kyle was working on Radiant Black about the same time, and that was also true of Ryan Parrott and the artist Abel with their book Rogue Sun, and also Melissa Flores on The Dead Lucky, her book. And we're all friends, and we all have a connection in that we all wrote for the Boom Studios Power Rangers comics together. Melissa's actually writing it right now. And we all have this connection to Power Rangers, and we just get along really well. So we're all talking about what we were working on. And I think we saw it in each other's work, a lot of shared sensibilities and shared passions, but also a lot of differences. We realized that they were all kind of carving out distinct feelings and types of stories. And it occurred to us that we could try a different version of the shared universe.
Yes.
And do it a little different to how Marvel does it, because it's an image, and one of the incredible things about images, it's all creator owned, it's all our control. There's never any corporate mandates, there's never any editorial mandates. And what that allowed us to do was, in our books, it's incredibly self-contained. You know, you read Inferno Girl Red, book 1, book 2. You don't need to read anything else. You won't feel like anything's missing. That's true of Radiant Black and Rogue Sun and The Dead Lucky. But we also do these crossovers once every year called Supermassive, where the characters from these books will interact with each other. And they're just like little not little, they're quite big, but one-off stories where we get a chance to see like how these characters interact with each other. And it does like give you a bit more perspective and information on the individual series, but we could do that without it detracting or derailing our individual series. What we're trying to create is hopefully the best of both worlds, where if you just want to read one series, you can just do that and your experience will be impacted at all. But if you're reading more than one, you can read the Supermassives and enjoy these characters coming together. And I hope that in some ways the Supermassives are a way to sort of introduce readers of one book to another book. So they might pick it up because they like Inferno Girl Red, for example, but then read it that, oh, wow, Rogue Sun's really cool, or Radiant Black is really cool. I want to check that out. And the final thing about it is that it also allows us to do some cool stuff we wouldn't be able to do otherwise. For example, we've just announced that we're going to be doing a fighting card game of the Massive Verse that will be kickstarted a bit later as well, with all of the characters. So Inferno Girl Red and the Griffin will be playable character decks in that, but also characters from Rogue Sun, Radiant Black, and the Dead Lucky as well. So we get to do these big sort of combination projects together, while also doing our own thing.
I just want to point this out. There's one scene that I love because, like you said, that you, Melissa, Kyle, you guys are big fans of the Power Rangers. You guys, you guys talk about, all this stuff. I have to say, one of the things I love about, one of the cool things I love about Inferno Girl, when I love the scene where Cassie's mom tells her, okay, this is how you use a bracelet to change it into Inferno Girl Red. She says, you might have to yell it, but I have no idea if it's mandatory. I just love that line. It's great because it pokes fun at it's self-realization. It kind of pokes fun at itself, but I'm gonna say
Yeah,
too, it shows your love for the genre. Because you kind of
hugely.
know it's like, okay, this is where they're all, if they're gonna, this is where they do their hero stance, or let's say like Star Trek, right? It's like, okay, if they beam up, why does everyone have to stand still? Why can't they just be lying on the ground? Why can't someone just be kneeling down?
Totally. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I have so much affection for tokusatsu, and we've certainly found a lot of inspiration in some of the aesthetics and different approaches, and even things like there's some like non-diegetic like text when
Mhm.
the characters first transform that sort of introduces them, that is inspired a lot by Kamen Rider. But we also wanted to make sure that we were really engaging with the idea of tokusatsu and what's going on under the surface, and a lot of the themes and some of the storytelling practices that we can learn. So
Mhm.
it's not a parody. Like, we genuinely
Oh,
love this stuff.
yes.
And it's taken very seriously, but yeah, it is also fun to sort of play with the conventions a little bit, and yeah, have those moments as well.
Okay, Matt, I'm gonna ask. I realize I didn't ask this. I didn't type in the question, but I'm gonna ask you the dumb question. Can you tell us, without spoiling, what should we expect from book two?
Yeah. So without spoiling too much, the end of book one leaves Cassia in a really tough spot. She just had this big
Yes.
victory, but it came at a huge personal cost.
Mhm.
So she's kind of in this like dual place where she's feeling very capable because she just did this incredible thing, but she's lost one of the things that keeps her grounded and gives her direction.
Mhm.
So she's trying to figure out where to go from here. And then the consequences of book one start catching up with her in a big way. And we end up seeing, yeah, some of the things that she's done have really significant consequences. And she ends up encountering two new young people who actually used to be students at her school,
Mhm.
who are going to terrorize the city in a major way. She's going to encounter a potential romance
Mhm.
that comes at a terrible time and
Mhm.
might not be the right thing, but she's still kind of drawn to. And she's going to get a chance to understand more about this mysterious force that's pressing down on the city, and learn a lot more about what's going on there. And in the midst of all of that, she's also got to kind of rebuild her support network. She's
Mhm.
going to
Yes.
find a new mentor. She's
Mhm.
going to bring in some of her friends more explicitly into her mission, and
Mhm.
try and define, like, okay, what is Inferno Girl Red moving forward? Who is part of that, and how do we operate?
Mhm.
So she's trying to create all of that sort of new system as things just start going wrong and wrong and wrong, and everything starts falling apart.
Matt, I'm just gonna say, you want to just take my money now. I mean, you just want to,
I
yeah.
appreciate that. Thank you.
Oh my God, now I can't wait for the second book. Okay. All right. Let me
Yeah.
let me start asking. Okay. Do you have what are some of the tier rewards that you guys have set out?
Yeah. So we, of course, have like, the book digitally. Actually, what I'll say first is, very importantly, if you haven't read any Inferno Girl Red before, we absolutely welcome everybody, because we'll have both digital and physical copies of Inferno Girl Red Book One as
Mhm.
part of this new Kickstarter campaign. So
Mhm.
you can join us right now, jump in. Now's the perfect time. So yeah, we'll have digital PDFs of both, but we'll also have our deluxe hardcovers of both Book One and Book Two. And these hardcovers, they have an exclusive to Kickstarter cover. They're oversized. There's heaps of pages of exclusive material in the back, and they're just an exquisite format. I'm really happy with how those hardcovers have come out. And then, of course, we also have some prints. And one of my favorite parts of doing these Kickstarters is going out to artists that I love and asking them to interpret Inferno Girl Red in their own style.
Mhm.
So we'll be announcing some of the artists quite soon of who will be joining us for this time. But
Mhm.
they've just done these incredible interpretations of Inferno Girl Red in their own style. And yeah, those prints are exclusive to the Kickstarter as well. So yeah, you definitely want to make sure that you don't miss out, and you
Mhm.
get all this Kickstarter exclusive stuff.
Now, listeners, because I backed the first Kickstarter. Oh my God, that oversized hardcover is beautiful. It
Yeah.
um so and I'm gonna and I told Matt I was gonna mention this, and Matt, you can comment too, but
Mm.
for listeners like and it's understandable if you can't afford the Kickstarter. I think Image will release book two in a later date in like like a 3-part series or something. Or
Yeah, if we make our funding,
okay, yeah, that's
the creation of book 2 is definitely, it's only going to happen if we hit our goal, because that's what allows us to pay the art team make all this happen. But yeah, our plan for that is that later on, after everyone from the campaign gets their copies,
yes.
Image will release, probably in the same way as we did this time, sort of 3 oversized single issues, so that they're actually double sized. Usually they're about 40 pages on average.
Yes.
And then after that, we'll do a trade paperback that will release to bookstores and comic stores as well, which will collect everything, but will be a smaller size and be paperback.
So, listeners, as Matt mentioned, Inferno Girl Red book 1 was already released out through Image as a 3-part series. It's out available in stores right now. If you get a chance, pick that up. But if you can't, if you can, check out this amazing Kickstarter. If you can get those oversized books, oh my God, like I said, they're beautiful.
Thank you.
I'm going to ask, and will there be like an Ashcan comic if a certain tier reward is hit or anything like that?
I don't think we're going to do an Ashcan this time, but I do have an idea for an extra thing as a stretch goal that will, in a similar way, provide another little story from the world of Inferno Girl Red. So, yeah, we'll keep the details of that under wraps for now. But yeah, we know that people really responded to that and loved that last time. So probably not the same form, but yeah, we've got something in mind for sure.
Oh my God, that's so cool. A process question. Now, did you and Erica like work out a schedule when these books should come out? Because I know 2 years ago the first campaign was launched. Now you guys are launching another one. Have you guys like try to work out a schedule or something when to try to have these Kickstarters come out?
Yeah, we don't have a set schedule or anything. It's more just how long it takes the books, and then a bit of a time for a little break for Erica afterwards to relax, first of all, and sort of recover, because she actually injured herself doing the first book.
Yes, I saw that on Twitter. Yes, yeah,
yeah,
read it somewhere. Yeah,
and yeah. So I think we've sort of learned to pace her a little bit better. But also she like can have a little bit of a chance to do small other things before she gets back to Inferno Girl Red. So it's not really a set schedule. It's just sort of as we can do them, we want to keep doing them.
Off the cuff question: how many books do you have planned for this series?
I mean, we don't have a super locked in firm plan at all. In part just because we really don't take for granted that we'll be able to keep doing that. We know that every single time we have to go out to people and sort of make the case and hope for the best. I will say very, very, very loosely, I have a sort of 6 to 7 book construct in my mind.
Yeah.
But part of the joy of this process for me is just discovering where the story takes us organically as we go. And I expect if we have the privilege and the good fortune to be able to continue, that'll probably change as we go.
And then I'm going to start wrapping things up slowly because, like I said, I don't want to keep you too much. But I want to ask you now, I'm going to move on from Inferno Girl. Now, please talk about another Kickstarter that's coming up, Bad Blood.
Oh, yeah. This is a really fun one.
Yes.
So an artist friend of mine, a graphic artist, not a comic artist, named Kelly McMahon, she does all sorts of like prints and things like that she sells at conventions, but she's recently started designing decks of playing cards. And she did a Kickstarter for one previously, and they're just so beautiful. And she started working on a new set, and this one's sort of like 1920s inspired, sort of like roaring 20s, but a little of like crime noir infused in.
Mhm.
And when she was creating it, she reached out to me and she said, "Oh, I have this idea
Yes.
of doing a murder mystery to accompany the deck of cards." And she explained to me
Yes.
what she was thinking. And I was just so excited, and said, "Yeah, absolutely. I'll write that for sure." So
Mhm.
what it is that with the deck of cards, which are like gorgeous designs on them with like characters on them, but are just regular playing cards, there will also be a little journal that you'll get that is the journal of a journalist who was investigating some murders before he died himself.
Mhm.
And by reading through that journal, and also by investigating the character art, like looking at the characters on the cards,
Mhm.
you're going to be able to figure out who killed a young woman who died in the city.
Mhm.
But you need to sort of use both the notes that the journalist put together as well as your own observations to figure out
Mhm.
who is responsible for these murders. And yeah, it's like just such a fun thing to do. And it's something that you'll only really be able to sort of do one time, obviously, because after that you'll solve the mystery. But
Mhm.
what I really love about it is by going through this process, you learn about all of the characters who are on the cards.
Mhm.
So all of the face cards, the ace, the king, the queen, and the jack of the different suits are different people.
Mhm.
And that means that as you keep playing with these cards, whether you're playing poker or whatever, they won't just be designs on the cards. They'll be characters that you know and understand, and you understand their motivations and their backstories and how they relate to each other. So
Mhm.
I really love that idea of taking a deck of cards and without adding anything extra that would like sort of take away from the cards themselves,
Mhm.
make them more meaningful to you and give you a greater connection to them. So yeah, that's Bad Blood. It will be launching your Kickstarter a little bit after the Inferno Girl Red Kickstarter, but we will be doing a special thing where if you back both of our campaigns,
Mhm.
when Inferno Girl Red gets fulfilled, you'll get an exclusive Inferno Girl Red print designed by Kelly that'll be
Nice.
included with your hardcover.
Mhm.
So little incentive for you to check out both.
That's pretty cool. All right, I'm gonna start wrapping things up. I'm gonna, because Matt, I know you're a big fan of Ultraman, the Power Rangers. How big a fan are you of these, franchises? Like, do you have action figures? Do you have, you know, DVD? I know this is audio, but like a DVD, I have something called Kikaida. It's great.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Or the Kamen Rider V3. I have the DVD set. You know.
Oh yeah, nice. Yeah, I mean, I'm a pretty big fan. It varies actually by franchise.
Yes.
Interestingly, Ultraman was one that I didn't have a lot of familiarity
Mhm.
with before I sort of Kyle and I were reached out by Marvel and Super I, who are an Ultraman. But
Mhm.
I think in investigating Ultraman, I realized how much of everything that I love, Ultraman was kind of the source. It was like
Mhm.
the inciting element that created all of this stuff. So diving into that and discovering it all was so good. I'm not a huge action figure guy myself, but
Mhm.
I do have some.
Mhm.
I was very lucky actually to have a few different Ultraman figures given to me by Subaraya, the people who own Ultraman, which was a very touching gesture.
Nice.
So I have Ultraman and Ultra 7 in a few different scales, which is lovely. And I'll actually, as much as I'm not like huge into action figures, I will build model kits from time to time.
Mhm. Yes.
I love me some Gunpla, and I actually just last night built Ninja Man from Kaku Ranger, which is a Super Sentai, or he's Ninja in Power Rangers if you prefer. And yeah, he's delightful. So I have like a few small bits and pieces, but yeah, I just love watching the stories. I love watching Super Sentai. I love watching Kamen Rider,
Mhm.
and just being inspired by how
Mhm.
powerfully creative they are.
I'm going to ask you one off the cuff question because, like I said, I want to try to get to the other questions. Um, like, how far back in the Kamen, have you watched the original Kamen Riders that were like made in the 70s, like TV
I
shows?
watched a little bit more, a little bit of the early Kamen Rider. I've watched more recent modern Kamen Rider, like
Mhm.
Kamen Rider Build and like Kamen Rider Ghost and 01. But I want to go back and explore more the original Kamen Riders because they have such a cool vibe.
Yes.
And I also know that I along those lines, I really want to see Shin Kamen Rider. Unfortunately, I live down here in Australia, and we tend to get things very late. So
Yes.
we only just got Shin Ultraman in cinemas, and I loved that. That was so good. So I'm really hoping we get to see Shin Kamen Rider in cinemas soon. So I'm purposely not watching anywhere else. I want to see it on the big screen if at all possible.
Yes. Oh, yes. Oh. Okay. Actually, let me just when is your next convention or store appearance for signing, books and stuff?
I'm hoping that I'll be at New York Comic Con this year, which is only like a month and a bit away. It's really gonna come down to finances, but yeah, it's my hope that I'll be at New York Comic Con.
Okay, and then have you and your family been to Hawaii?
I've never been. I would love to go to Hawaii. Unfortunately, Australia is a long way from literally everywhere, but Hawaii is closer than mainland America to us. So yeah, I would absolutely love to go to Hawaii one day.
Oh my God. I'm gonna make it clear. I do not know any the Comic Con organizers here, but I think you would love it because we have something called Kawaii Con. It's like more about the anime and stuff like that. They bring down Japanese voice actors from the mainland, some of the booths. So, yes, I think you would love it here. And it's not going to be New York crazy packed. I mean, you have enough room to move around, So
yes,
or you have enough time to talk to fans,
Absolutely. We have conventions down here in Australia as well, and they're quite small. So I have no problems with slightly smaller, quieter conventions, especially as compared to like San Diego and New York.
Any closing words to our listeners?
Oh, only just that I hope that you'll check out our Kickstarter and see if you'd be interested. We really wanted to create something that felt like the future superhero comics, that felt new and vibrant and sort of bold and emotional. But it was also incredibly accessible. You don't need to have read anything else, experienced anything else. They're novels, so they're like complete stories in and of themselves. So I hope that you'll come and see if it's for you and check it out if it is.
Matt, mahalo. Thank you in Hawaiian. Thank you for your time. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to interview you. I wish you all the success with the Inferno Girl Red Books 1 and 2 Kickstarter campaign. I want to thank Hannah of Superfan Promotion for helping set up this interview. Hannah, thank you very much. Now, if you are a new comic book reader or a lifelong comic book reader, or I'm going to say a massive verse fan, or even a Power Rangers fan, please check out this Kickstarter campaign. It is live right now, and it's going to end probably towards the end of September. Just double check the Kickstarter page for the date. Now, listeners, I've read book 1 and I love it. The art has a nice cinematic feel to it. I love the soft colors, and it contrasts to the bold, strong colors. It's very good. It's really nice. And I love the story about, as Matt said, it's not your typical hero story. This really has a great mother-daughter relationship. And it's about a mother who's helping her daughter to become the woman she is. Bottom line is, this is a great love letter to the Super Sentai shows and to superhero comics. Now, Matt, I'm being serious to our listeners. Listeners, if you don't know what to get your friend or a family member who is a huge comic book fan, please consider backing this Kickstarter and giving them this unique gift, as a birthday present or even as a Christmas present. I just think that would be pretty awesome. I want to thank Drew, the host of Comics for Fun and Profit, for putting this episode together. Drew, thank you very much for all your hard work behind the scenes. And if you are a new listener, please check out new episodes of Comics for Fun and Profit that comes out every Saturday. And I want to thank you, the listeners. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for listening to this episode. Until next time, guys. Aloha.
Kyle, I've got the solution to our dreary evenings. We can we can pop a little magic mind and get a little pick me up and still go to sleep, just enough to give us some clarity of mind, a little creativity, get the creative juices flowing, maybe give you one or two before the podcast, to really focus you in. What do you think
fall
of that?
asleep during one podcast, and all of a sudden that's your problem.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, absolutely. The worst thing you want to do is, brew a pot of coffee at middle of the night right before a podcast.
Yeah.
Then you're up the entire evening. What you need is good, sustained energy, clarity of mind, not, a jolt of caffeine that hurts your body and all these things. Absolutely. And Magic Mind does all that stuff and has that, okay, matcha. I want to talk about matcha, Drew.
Okay. All right.
The green vegetable matcha, that buzzword, that superfood. I didn't think I'd like matcha. I am starting to like matcha, and that's one of the big key ingredients here is that lovely green superfood that has the benefits of all the keeping you goings.
Yeah. And it's cool stuff. It's pricey. Matcha is, but they stick it in this with some great other ingredients, all natural stuff. But you can get it through us with our code. So we want you to check out this Magic Mind elixir. Check this out. It is, go to magicmind.co/comicsfunprofit.
And elixir really is the perfect word for it. It's a nice little elixir. It's very cool.
For sure. If you feel you want to try this out, go to magicmind.co/comicsfunprofit and use our code. You can get 20% off of an initial one-time purchase, or up to 56% off of a subscription. So if this sounds good to you, go to magicmind.co/comicsfunprofit and use our code CFP. You can get up to 56% off your subscription for the next 10 days with the code CFP, or you can just use that discount code CFP at magicmind.co/comicsfunprofit to get 20% off a one-time purchase. Just to sample, dip your toe, check it out.